Nowhere. That's where I was driving. I had no home, no place to go. Just the solitude of the road as my companion. I had done bad things, hung with bad people. Maybe that meant that I was a bad person. But everybody's the hero of their own story, no matter how much mental fuckery that might take. 15 miles to heaven. I burst into laughter as I passed the highway sign. Typical Southern Bible Belt stuff. The worst towns always had names like Paradise and Salvation, as if that would bring them good fortune. These were dying towns, slowly choking on the bile of regret, despair, and self-pity. Like most decisions in my life, I made this one spontaneously. Why not take a stroll around heaven? I thought. Maybe even save my eternal soul. Wouldn't that be fun? As the exit sign approached, I veered across several lanes and I sped towards my final destination. The city itself was about 10 minutes from the highway exit, but the drive there was desolate. Barren dirt fields devoid of any man-made structure, stretching out for miles in every direction. As I approached the city limits, I was greeted by an impressively large, faded sign. Welcome to heaven, the crossroads of the world. Once again, I fell into a fit of uncontrollable laughter. How very presumptuous of them. I'm sure old Sally Withers, or whatever the heck, came up with that slogan during a riveting game of bridge with her elderly neighbors. People always see themselves as the center of the universe, and I suppose that extends to where they live as well. The streets of heaven were empty, not a soul in sight. The houses lining the streets were carbon copies of each other, from the wood paneling to the dull, muted colors. Planted on every lawn were frail-looking weeping willows, swaying gently in the breeze. I shuddered at the conformity of it all, which I assumed was enforced by the world's strictest HOA. Maybe that would have been a better slogan. I turned onto several different blocks, and each one of them was exactly the same. It was a seemingly endless parade of tacky single-story homes, the American dream gone horribly wrong. I smirked as I gazed at the surroundings, thanking the Lord above that I wasn't cursed to live such a life. Already bored, I spun my car around and I drove back towards the highway, but I would find that that wasn't so easy. Heaven was a maze that I couldn't seem to escape, every turn revealing the same decaying street, over and over and over again. I tried driving in a straight line for what felt like an hour, but it was like I was in a cartoon with a loop background. I was trapped in heaven. The warning light on my dashboard came to life, indicating that my gas tank was low. Terrified of running out of gas, I pulled the car over to the side. I idled for a moment, doing my best to keep my composure. My car felt safe, and a primal instinct was screaming at me to stay put. That was the first rule of survival. But these weren't normal circumstances, and I knew that that meant I had to throw out the playbook and improvise. Carefully, I nudged open the car door, stepping onto the cracked and weed-infested sidewalk. I walked towards the house on the corner. Dark clouds passed overhead, blacking out the sun. Hello, is anyone home? I'm lost and in need of some assistance. I repeated the phrase several times as I knocked, a little louder each time. I was greeted with silence, so I moved on to the next house, but I was continually met with the same silence. As I approached the final house in the block, I saw a figure dart behind the window drapes. Wisps of silky blonde hair quickly disappeared behind drab curtains only a grandmother could love. Hello, I'm in need of assistance. My car is almost out of gas and I'm completely lost. Can you please help? I tried to mask the panic in my voice, not wanting to startle the house's occupant. "You shouldn't be here. Please go away." A meek voice responded from behind the door. The voice was like an itch in the back of my brain that I could not scratch. It sparked a flood of recognition and brought back a wave of nostalgia, but I just couldn't place it. Curious, I replied, Do I know you?" "Please, I can't help you. You need to leave now." Her words filled with anguish. It was then that I recognized the voice, and it nearly brought me to my knees. It belonged to my eldest cousin. She had taken her life almost 15 years ago after fleeing from a court-ordered rehab center. We were never especially close, but we both struggled with addiction during our youth, and in many ways, we're two peas in a pod. I easily could have gone down the road that she traveled. In fact, I almost did. "Lila, how are you alive?" I sputtered like a malfunctioning lawnmower, only able to string together single-word fragments. "Sam, please get back to your car. Please." Lila's words trailed off, interrupted by loud sobs. A crack of lightning bolted across the sky, the starting gun for a sudden torrent of rain. Clothes now soaking, I began pounding on Lila's door with both fists. I must have done this without pause for 5 minutes or so. "You probably don't know it, but you're screwing me, Sam. Come in before he sees you, quickly." The door creaked open and I flung myself inside, stumbling as I did. Lila hadn't aged a day since I had last seen her, although that meant less than you think. Years of drug abuse had left her skin pock-ridden and blotchy, fading the beauty that she once had. Her blonde hair was matted in tangled thickets, wild and untamed. "For the love of God, stay quiet." Lila raised her hand to shush me as I tried to utter a thank you. Her eyes darted back and forth, clearly agitated. Trembling from the cold, Lila led me into a sparsely decorated room, paint peeling from the walls, and sat me on a plastic-covered couch. A thin layer of dust shot into the air as I nestled the cushions, and clearly the couch had not been used in quite some time. The only thing worth note was a rusted medical device, one that you would see on ER, beeping quietly in the corner. "Sam, don't lie to me, because everybody else lies in this place." Lila strolled over and grabbed my arm, squeezing it with some force. "Did anybody give you a set of keys?" "You're the only person that I've seen in heaven, and you barely let me into your house," I responded gruffly, pushing her arm off me as I did. "Frankly, I should be the one asking questions, because if I'm not mistaken, you died No. Lila swatted my questions away like a fly. "Don't even try, because you'll never get anything out of me. You may not believe me, but the less you know, the better." "I'm not sure if I can accept that. This is all too much. Way too much. Why the hell were you so afraid to let me in?" I started to become frantic, a heavy weight suddenly falling upon my chest. "Don't be a baby. I know for a fact you've been through worse. Man the hell up and listen to me. I think I can get you out of here. I want to get you out of here." That was the Lila that I remembered. From I hate you to I love you in a heartbeat. "I'm risking more than you can ever imagine, but..." Lila trailed off, but I didn't interrogate further. Whether I liked it or not, the boundaries had been set, and I was not under any circumstances to cross them. "Before we go any further, I need you to do me a small favor. Very quietly and very carefully, peek behind the window curtains and tell me what you see." I tiptoed towards the windows, trying my best to remain absolutely silent. Moving like a sloth, I pushed the drape slowly to the side, exposing only the slightest sliver of the window pane. Past the window, I saw nothing but the swaying willow trees and the same depressing houses as before. This block is the same as every other, empty and depressing. I'm not sure what to say other than that. Am I looking for something in particular? You don't see anybody out there. For example, an elderly woman with a horrible face walking in flea-bitten mud. A slight grin spread across Lila's face, but it faded in an instant. All I see are empty streets and empty sidewalks. Am I missing something? Oh my god, I was right. Bursting into tears, Lila threw her arms around me. Right about what? This time I couldn't fight the urge to inquire. The only thing that's important right now is that you're still alive. That's as much as you need to know. And truthfully, probably more than you should know. But we don't have time to celebrate. You need to take me to your car so I can get you home. Before it's too late. Lila quickly gathered a few supplies into a worn backpack. Most noticeably, a seemingly antique Colt 45 revolver. Despite my burning curiosity, I didn't ask about the weapon. Answers be damned, I just wanted to get the hell out of heaven. Slightly peering out of the window, Lila motioned for me to open the door. Slowly. As soon as the door was opened, she mouthed a single word. Run. Together we ran lockstep down the block. I could see the absolute terror in Lila's eyes, and it helped propel me forward. I couldn't explain a thing that was happening, but there is nothing like spending time with your dead cousin to put the fear of God in you. I've done so little good in my life, and I have to tell you, this feels like redemption to me. Lila smiled and I slammed the key into the ignition. As the last word escaped her lips, a bolt of lightning struck the willow tree directly across from the car, causing it to burst into flames. Burning branches thudded on the roof of the car, raining down like hellfire. Drive! Drive! Obeying her words, I skidded out of park and I roared down the street. In 3 blocks, go right or left. No, right. Yes, definitely right. I couldn't help but feel apprehensive. Lila was never particularly known for her reliability. Regardless, I had no choice but to put my faith in a woman who would mess everything up in her life, including her life. Another bolt of lightning crashed into the street several car lengths in front of us. I swerved the car to the side to avoid the debris, but a large fragment of concrete managed to shatter my rear window, spraying shards of glass all over the back seat. Looking behind me, I could see that the lightning bolt had left a perfectly cut image of a house key into the cement. A bad omen if I've ever seen one. As we swerved onto another block, following Lila's frantic directions, a loud engine began revving in the distance. As we continued to speed down the block, the sound grew louder and louder, closing on us at an incredible speed. Turn left in a block, and then you're just a couple of miles from freedom, Sammy boy. Seemingly ignoring the vehicle catching up with us, Lila spoke in an excited and upbeat tone. Maybe this isn't the best time, but I'm the one who ratted you out back in '95. I blurted out, feeling the shame of the moment fully for the first time. Before I could follow up with an apology, a sudden force jolted the car from behind. Almost losing control, I swerved back towards the center of the road, wheels screeching like hyenas. I couldn't see a thing behind us, but Lila was trembling in fear, eyes locked onto some unseen entity. Something very, very bad is behind us right now, Sam. And if he catches you, you'll be done over 10 ways to Sunday. Lila sighed, staring up at the black clouds for a moment. I hope you remember me as a better person than I was. Goodbye. Hopefully forever. And with that, Lila pulled the gun from the backpack and dove out of the moving car. I must admit, I didn't even hesitate to keep driving. Not because I didn't love my cousin, but because I loved her enough to honor her sacrifice. Whatever sacrifice means for a dead woman. 2 gunshots echoed from behind, in quick succession of each other. It was followed by a bellowing demonic roar, vacillating between multiple octaves. That sound penetrated my core in ways that I'd rather not remember, but still it haunts my dreams every night. As I continued to speed away, I could hear the faintest screams of a woman in unbelievable agony. A rush of light overtook the road, blinding me completely. Covering my eyes from the light, the car crashed into a large unseen object. I could hear the crunch of steel and bone as the car's body imploded upon itself. And then I woke up. "Oh my God, he's awake! Get the doctor!" A young nurse hovering over me yelled hysterically as soon as my eyes opened. Looking around, I saw myself hooked up to all sorts of beeping devices, cast from head to toe. Every part of my body ached, parts that I hadn't even known existed. Scared and confused, I managed to utter weakly, "What happened?" It was the only thing that I could think to say, and really, it was the only thing that I wanted to know. "Sir, you were in a serious car accident and, well, you've been in a coma for 7 weeks. While recovering in the hospital, I crossed many bridges I thought long burnt beyond use. I rekindled relationships with family, and most importantly my son, and I made a serious commitment to sobriety. I had been given a second chance, one that I did not deserve. Life's funny like that." It's been almost 3 years since I left the hospital, and in almost every facet my life has improved, except for the nightmares. I may have left heaven, but it hasn't left me, and every night I'm cursed to walk those streets. Lila is never there though. Her absence only amplifies my hatred for the place. One night while wandering the decaying blocks of heaven, I happened upon a burned down house. The willow tree in front rotted and dying. Among the debris, I found a photo burned almost beyond recognition, but I saw enough to know who the house belonged to. I immediately burst into tears. If that was heaven, can you imagine hell?